Colorado Springs is a prosperous and conservative city. Most voters are Republican, and most workers are not unionized. The city is not exactly the kind of place you'd expect to endorse comparable worth, one of the most controversial employment issues of our time.
Just never get credit for having the organizational skills.
So nobody knew how the city council would respond when a group of secretaries in the city government raised the issue.
The clerical employees in the city of Colorado Springs took a look at the proposed 1981 pay package and found that we were literally being shortchanged. We had such inequities in the jobs of comparable value, if you will, that we started networking with each other. We called each other, we became incensed by what we saw.
The inequities were easy to spot because the city was using a job evaluation system. Each job was assigned points according to the working conditions, skills, and accountability required. Many clerical jobs, mostly filled by women, scored the same number of points as operations and maintenance jobs, mostly filled by men. But the men's jobs always paid more. For example, both draftsmen and secretaries scored 141 points. In other words, they were of comparable worth to the city. But draftsmen, mostly men, earned almost $200 a month more than secretaries, mostly women. This seemed like clear evidence of discrimination.
Once we had the statistics, then we could actually prove that the clerical employees were being underpaid.
The hardest part was trying to convince the city council and the administration that this was something that was fair, that needed to be done.
We knew we were right. When you know you're right, you're willing to do whatever is necessary to prove you're right.
An argument frequently raised against comparable worth is that salaries are determined not by the intrinsic worth of a job, but by the market. Top management in the city, however, identified the market as the source of discrimination.
You cannot support any data that you derive from a market that's tainted with sex discrimination. Or some say, why should government, a taxpayer-supported institution, lead the way in an issue like this? And our response has always been, who better than government, representatives of all the people, to lead the way in a fairness issue?
So after all of the studies and after all of the arguments, it comes down to a question: are you going to, in effect, hide behind the market, or are you going to take a step because it's fair and just? This city decided to take that step.
We agreed over a 4-year period to pay 80% of the difference between the clerical secretarial salary line and the maintenance operations salary line.
What you can do is you can call them and
Only 80% because employment data in Colorado Springs, as on a national level, had shown that women changed jobs or dropped out of the job market more than men due to marriage, childbearing, or a husband's job transfer. This lack of continuous employment had depressed women's salaries. But after the city reached its 80% goal, a new trend in employment data was spotted.
The data began to show that over the 4 years of phasing, we found that those 3 factors included were not causing more turnover amongst our female employees. So the analysis of that data is really what led me to support closing the gap completely.
So Colorado Springs became the first employer in the country to voluntarily implement comparable worth, a decision which could be appreciated by female and male workers alike.
Knowing what the salary ranges are and what the job entails on their side and mine, yeah. It's fair.
Because you know that someone appreciates what you do and rewards you accordingly, you do your absolute best for them and you go the extra mile.
You pay fairly, you pay appropriately, no matter what the gender, and you'll find that you have high productivity, high morale, low turnover, and we have fewer employees per 1,000 people served than most cities. So I think it was a good business decision, in addition to the fact that it was just basically fair.